It's that time of year again where Apple released their new iPhone lineup, and today I will show you whether it's worth it to upgrade for the camera. So I will compare the iPhone 14, 15 and 16 Pro and show you where the differences lie within the cameras.
What up guys, my name is Eddie Bear and welcome back to another episode. Since I get the question every single year, which iPhone should I get? And is it worth it to upgrade? I once again decided to put together this little comparison where we compare the last 3 flagship iPhone camera capabilities in difficult but also everyday scenarios. And spoiler alert, there are some findings that I was absolutely not expecting.
Let us begin by comparing the photo capabilities of the iPhones. The ultra-wide lens of the iPhone 16 Pro received a massive upgrade in dynamic range and low light performance. However, in this scenario, I cannot really see a big difference. The image of the iPhone 14 Pro almost does look the best, even though it has a lot of sharpness going on. However, the iPhone 15 is almost too soft, and the 16 now definitely looks better than the 14 and 15 at this point. Since the One X camera always has been the highest performing lens within the iPhone Pro lineup, there is no surprise that these images are all crispy and sharp. However, the results become highly interesting the moment you pixel peep. The 14 Pro once again has a lot of sharpness going on, and I think it's a little bit too much compared to the results from the other iPhones. The image from the 15 Pro is sharp from the tip of the lion's nose all the way to the olive branch, and the overall image just feels softer, although it's sharp through and through. And when you compare the image from the 15 to the 16 Pro, at a first glance it looks like the focus missed on the 16 Pro, but it actually didn't. The thing you see here is naturally occurring depth of field, and it's amazing to see something like this in a super small iPhone camera lens. Since the 2x zoom is using the same lens as the 1x zoom on every single Pro iPhone, the results are exactly the same as they are with the 1x zoom. 14 Pro overall a little bit too sharp, 15 Pro nice and crispy, 16 Pro introduces subtle depth of field. In this year's comparison there's a little change because the iPhone 16 Pro only comes with a 5x lens and no longer has a 3x lens, and if you would select 3x zoom on the iPhone 16 Pro, it would use the same lens as the 1x and the 2x zoom. And when we pixel peep into the 5x lens, you can see how much closer we are getting to our subject while retaining even more information than we did with the 3x lenses. In order to achieve the same magnification, we would need to zoom into 679% on the 14 and 15 Pro, and at that point the images of both phones are starting to fall apart.
So much for the general differences between the individual lenses. However, the lenses behave very different when you record videos instead of photos.
We were barely able to see any differences on the ultra wide angle lens when it came to photos. However, this changes in videos. You can clearly see a difference in low light performance between the 14, 15 and 16 Pro. The 14 Pro is losing all the information in the shadows of the tree, whilst the 15 and 16 Pro are able to retain some of the informations in the shadows. The 16 Pro also seems to have an upper hand in terms of noise in the shadows, but you can see that there is a lot of noise due to the harsh lighting conditions in this scene here. The 1x lens in video is producing similar results as we've seen them with the photos. However, the 14 Pro is struggling a little bit with the dynamic range in this scene, and you can see that the 15 and 16 Pro is doing a better job with the shadow of the tree here. If you zoom in, you can see that the 16 Pro is also able to retain a little bit more details within the brightest areas of this shot. And as we already learned from the photos, the 2x zoom is using the 1x lens, so the results are pretty much identical, they're just closer. The results, however, drastically change the moment you switch to 3x and 5x zoom. This year I was able to confirm the results from last year. The 3x zoom from the 15 Pro is absolutely butchering this scene here. The 14 Pro has way more information in it. Yes, it has more noise, but the image looks way way nicer than the one from the 15 Pro. The 15 Pro is riddled with artifacts and you lose a lot of details in the image. However, the 16 Pro's performance is amazing. It has way less noise than the 14 Pro and it retains way more information within the image. You can even see the fine lines on the tower in front of you. This just proves how superior the 5X lens is. Last year I also did a running test in order to show you how good the image stabilization is by now within the iPhones, and you can see here how much I'm shaking the phones while I'm running like a crazy person. By the way, I captured the running with the DJI Action 5 Pro, but more about this one in another video. But getting back to the stabilization, honestly, I'm super blown away how good stabilization has become within the iPhones. The 14 and 15 Pro were already great when it came to stabilization. Last year we established that the 14 did not stabilize as much as the 15 did, but the 16 definitely stabilizes a little bit more than the 15 does, and it is looking great, especially if you consider how much I was shaking the phone while running. And I did not apply any additional stabilization in post to this footage. So this is the footage straight out of the camera.
In the beginning I mentioned that the ultra-wide-angle lens received an upgrade, so it has a higher dynamic range and performs better in low light. Unfortunately, we barely could see any differences in my test shots with the dim environment. But surprisingly, it is significantly noticeable in bright to medium lit scenes.
At a first glance, the carousel looks identical, but if you zoom in, suddenly you're able to distinguish the individual light bulbs on the wall, whereas with the 14 and 15 Pro, you only see one straight line, and with the 16 Pro, you can see the individual light bulb. These results become even more prominent in this example. Just look how easy it is to identify every single LED in the lighting.
And of course, we do need to talk about slow motion.
There is absolutely no doubt that you can create stunning high frame rate recordings with every single iPhone here. But you know what's even better? That the iPhone 16 Pro now can record at up to 120 frames per second. That frame rate is every videographer's holy grail for a reason. It gives you so many more options. If you have it, you'll use it.
Now you know how the individual cameras from the iPhone 14, 15 and 16 Pro compare to each other. But the question remains, which one should you get? If you are on an iPhone 14 or older, with the results from this year's comparison in mind, I would absolutely not recommend you to upgrade to an iPhone 15 Pro in the hopes of striking a bargain. The iPhone 16 Pro's camera system is so far superior to the 15 Pro that I think it's worth to invest a little bit more in order to go for the new flagship. If you simply cannot afford the 16 Pro, strike a real bargain and go for the 14 Pro instead, because at this point it might deliver a better cost to performance ratio. So with all this in mind, what do you think, which phone performed actually the best in your opinion? Let me know down in the comments. And with that said, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one.